Welcome to game one. We've got a single mana. We do have Seek power. No golems in this hand, so we'll just redraw because it's only got we can have both colors, but this really doesn't have the kind of start we want. We'll just try to get them naturally. There we go. I see two colors, an Obsidian Golem and a decent curve. This should be a good game for us. We've even got our late game Smuggler stash ready to go when it's time. Obsidian Golem is pretty incredible with the stash because this gives you it doesn't just turn into the armor. You actually get an additional card out of it. So if the golem dies, it goes to your discard. And then if the creature with the armor dies, the armor goes to your discard. Then you can Smuggler's Stash to get back a golem and the armor. And then the golem will give another armor when it dies. So that's pretty nice value. It looks like the opponent's got a sweet blind storyteller here. They're going to work on fixing up their hand. We could play on curve with scheme, but this is just trading scheme for another card, so we're going to wait on that. We're going to play a golem now to put more pressure on the opponent's life total, and we'll save scheme for later in the game when we need to find something specific to keep ourselves going. Next turn we've got Outland Sniper even, so we can pick off the 0-1, or we can pick off this thing, because that's definitely not blocking us. So we're going to send both in. We'll offer a trade with these two. Opponent will not block, because they're going to try to hit us with their 3-2, but we're going to zap it. Kapow! So we've got some good pressure here. We had a nice tempo turn because we played a fairly small creature for the cost, but we negated the opponent's play while we did it. We did not draw mana, but we do have some options for our play here. The opponent probably is, again, not blocking, although this might be enough pressure that they just need to make a trade for our sniper. I don't think want to block one of these because it just gives us an armor. Yeah, they're taking the damage, so they're going to race with this, but I don't think that leaves them in great position. We'll get a 4-drop right now because it uses up our mana, and we've got enough Obsidian Golems in play already. So that's kind of cool. We've got both of these like small 4-drops with burn attached that we were hoping to try out. Alright, Soul Collector's fine, but I don't think it's going to really do what they want. We are probably just sending in with everything. They may block our 3-1, but we'll take it if they do. They may chump block with this to get a +1 on their Soul Collector. We're okay with any of that happens. We'll just send these in. I'd like to hold on to the Death Strike as long as possible. I don't just want to blow it as soon as we draw the thing. If we don't use Death Strike this turn, we're probably playing Scheme to try to hit a Sigil and then playing our Obsidian Golem. Yeah, we've got some pressure here. Let's Scheme. There's a Sigil, but we could also just take a Torch. The Torch would only put the opponent at 1, but yeah, we'll take it. It's more likely we'll draw. It's more likely that we'll draw a Sigil next turn anyway. Not that we really need it. We've got a fast spell to remove a blocker on their turn, and we've got a spell to remove a blocker on our turn. So any two of our things are lethal. That'll kill our 3-1. All right. So I guess if we wanted to get cute, we could torch our 3-1 to put another torch in our hand, but that doesn't really do anything. This says it gets a +1/+1 when any creature dies, any unit dies, and you gain life for it. So we'll torch this 1/1 now so that they can only gain 1 life off of it. This does mean we have to hit with all 3 of our creatures, which is not going to happen. So the opponent looks like they... Oh, maybe we will. Okay. So they're just planning to chump with this thing. Oh, because this was reckless. So yeah, we just can win this one. We'll Amethyst Acolyte that. And battle them for 6. That'll be the game. Alright, there we go. Game 1 is done. Not what they had in mind. Let's start the next one. the first few games, I don't know how they match you up against opponents in this, but I would assume that you're getting matched up against people who have a similar record. This hand is awful. We're going to redraw. It looks like we're playing first here, which will be nice because we can hopefully get an aggressive start. For some reason, there are no obsidian golems. That's kind of weird. Maybe we'll draw one on turn 2. So this could go like really bad because we could just never draw land and never draw golem. So it looks like we're on track for that. So just like we drew it out, we've got Rebel Sharpshooter into Ornate Katana, which will be a nice combination because we'll get a 5-3 quick draw. It's going to be pretty hard to block. Opponent's fixing their mana, so we're playing against at least a 3-color deck. But the strangers, oh, they've got stranger combos, huh? Stranger things here. All right. They are attacking. I guess that's fine. Like a idiot, we just didn't draw sigil, so we'll go ahead and put this on. Maybe we'll draw sigil now. Oh, that guy's fine too. We'll send this one in. Attack. I mean, if there was a time we were going to draw Oni Ronin that was not turn 1, I guess this is a good one for that to be. Oni Ronin, unfortunately, gets kind of bricked by this 1-3, but oh, they're just sending that in. The opponent's getting very aggressive. We're going to take this block here. We could block this one, but this is bumping this thing anyway, so if they have other strangers that can get the bonus, then we may as well just take out the one that's helping the rest of the team. So we would like to remove this thing. It looks like we can do that because our mana is perfectly 2 and 2 sigils. So they can't block. They might block anyway. They might forget about quick draw. It's always worth making that sort of an attack just to see if your opponent lets you get away with it. Like if they just forget what your creature does. Like if you have an attack with no penalties, you may as well take it. But we get to pick off their 3-1 there. This guy's been pretty nice so far. I have Outland Sniper is 2 for 2 at taking out decent units, and we'll take a block here too. Okay, so we're basically trading Outland Sniper for Combat Trick and 3 damage, and that's pretty bad. We get this removed, so we are a little low on life here. Our options this turn are going to be Scheme and hit a Sigil, play Obsidian Golem, or play Guerrilla Fighter. I'm not a huge fan of the Guerrilla Fighter here because this low on life and the way the opponent's been playing, we should expect them to have some strong endgame stuff, so I think we're the control in this matchup. So I would rather block their 2-2 with the Obsidian Golem and save this for a time we can attack with it. So we're going to Scheme and find a Sigil. We are not going to find Seek Power. We do want the Fire Sigil, though, because Flame Blast takes 3 reds. So we'll take this, we're going to play it and get a blocker. And yeah, it's pretty good. Next turn, we are ready to play our 5-drop, too, which is decently sized. I mean, 5/5 for 5 is just a fine creature. And it looks like, at this point, we're just against what the opponent has on board, we're down to taking 1 damage per turn if they keep attacking with that 1/3, and we're not too concerned about taking 1 per turn. So, oh, that's a nice card. That will let them get in for 3 again, but we do have a removal we can use on it. This is putting us a little behind on tempo for sure. And unfortunately, we don't, even if we draw a Sigil here, we don't really have any combination of things that we can play. I guess we could also just get the Xenan Destroyer and Armor Up on it. That gives us a strong blocker for this. So this thing, oh, there goes my alarm. Alright, so that would give us a good blocker for Rakano Stranger, but it is kind of telegraphing what we're going to do. Although, if they don't have any way to deal with that, we're going to gain 5 life from it next turn, and that's going to put their aggression to bed pretty well. So we're either doing a Warband Chieftain or this, and we're not going to get anything out of the Entomb on this if we do play it and it dies, so we'll just go with the one that maybe gains us a bunch of life. This is sort of like a 1.5 for 1 if they permafrost this thing, and it is a really big tempo hit, which is more important because we're up on cards anyway. I guess we're not really that far up on cards because the opponent has some stuff invested in the board, so their card quality is kind of low too. So we've got 2 cards basically on the board and 3 in hand, and they've got the opposite. They've got 3 on the board and 2 in hand. Okay, so the flyer's coming in, and we're probably going to do the attack and then death strike something. We also have the option of like guerrilla fightering this. That might be better because it gives us... Both of them use 4 mana, and we don't have anything we can do with the other 2, but both of them get us through the opponent's blockers. If we tap down their 4/1, then they probably aren't chumping, so we'd gain 5 up to 13. They're going to hit us back for 10, so we would go to 3 and be dead to like a torch. So I think even though Guerrilla Fighter gives us more on the board, I think it might be better to play the Death Strike. Although Guerrilla Fighter can block their 4/1, I'm not going to feel too sad about trading with the 4/1, and that lets us save Death Strike for next turn. Okay, we'll Guerrilla Fighter. We'll exhaust this thing so that they don't have blockers, and we are forced to send this one in, but that's okay because we wanted to do it anyway. And I guess this is a little bit risky. If the opponent has a way to remove our blocker and do 3 to us, we just die. But if they don't, we get to gain another 5 life next turn, and that's sweet because the opponent's basically doing the same thing as that they were going to. So they're probably putting a 1/3 and a 4/1 in front of this and blocking our 3/2 with their 2/2. We, I think, are sending both in. So we're only attacking for 8. The opponent could just take it, but they probably won't because they need to try to kill our 5/5. And this makes it look like we... Yeah, so they blocked as we expected, and we'll just kill this thing. So we should have this game after this because we're going to have a pretty nice board. Oh, I guess not. Okay. So that's significant. We still get to trade for all their creatures that are out, and we gain some life. All right. We've still got a game here. We do have a nice card in hand, and we are... The opponent has, with their 3/3, a 5-turn clock, unfortunately, because we are at 13 and not 12. Okay, so that speeds their clock up a lot. That gives them a little more reach. We are going to get this Warband Chieftain, although sending this thing in does not do very much for us. So we'll go ahead and play this one and pass. Yeah, we are actually looking like we're pretty behind right now, so this is probably going to be a loss for us. The flyer is something that's going to be too tough for us to deal with here. We will send in a 5/5. But the opponent actually, I think, should not have blocked there. I guess, no, they should. They should block because if we had the extra damage somehow, it would be pretty bad. But if we had the extra damage, we would have just attacked with both things. And we can get the life steal here, but that is not going to do anything for us. So we'll just send these in and see if they take it. They won't. But it's always worth doing the attack. Also, it was silly to play our cards out before that because we show that we don't have anything. But I mean, you may as well do the last attack there, and we'll good game. And that's going to be it. So, the Flying Killer was a pretty sweet one. We're going to go on to game 3. Or, sorry, game 3. We are at 1-1, which is at least an average start, whatever. Yeah, well, hopefully... It looks like we're a little bit soft to flying because I don't think we have any flyers at all in this deck. So we are going to have to hope that our removal that we've got can get us through those. We do have a few pieces of removal. I think if you count the creatures, if you count Outland Sniper and the one that gives you a torch when it dies, I believe we've got 4 or maybe 5 pieces of removal if you count our relic weapon. There may be more than that I'm not thinking of. Looks like this game's taking a little bit of time to get started. Any time now. Hopefully this is not another one where it like lags and then we don't really get time to look at our opening hand. Doesn't look like that's happening though. Okay, we need to start getting some wins here. We've got a turn 1 Oni Ronin and not a lot else going on. We are on the play here, so that gives us less chances to draw into our purple sigils. I don't like the Oni enough to keep this hand because the rest of it just doesn't really do anything. We really want to have both colors in the opening. So we've got both of those. We've got a Golem. So this is what we want to do. We'll keep the torch up, although I don't see us playing a torch on turn 1. A good option there may have been to play the Cabal Cutthroat, actually, so we could start getting some life, but I would like to try to get our 2/2 armor on the Cutthroat. So here we, I think, are going to send this in. They will block, but then we can play Amethyst Acolyte. Another option we'd have is playing, like, the Torch, and we could play the Torch, get our creature through, and play a 2-drop, but this lets us add a 2-power creature to the board while saving Torch, and it uses all 3 of our mana on 1 card. So we can be more versatile with like what plays we make by getting the higher cost cards out of our hand first. That was a pretty strong one. We had that in a deck recently. That thing, I believe, is getting torched because our creatures can't get through it. So we'll just blast that thing. It is a shame that we did not draw the mana we wanted there. And I'm a little frightened of what is going to come out next turn. But we'll just have to wait and see. We can start getting some of our stuff pretty big with these Obsidian Golems. So the opponent will either have to block and... Oh, well, okay, that's not a big deal. It looks like the opponent's stuck on 3 mana here. We will offer to trade any of our creatures for this. The opponent should not block. Oh, they will block, okay. So they're going for the long game. They took the trade that we offered. We will seek out a Black Sigil, and we'll just play it here, and still use all our mana, but it is the play we can make. The opponent did trade for a 2/1, but they did that because they don't want to give us 2/2 armors in our hand. So this thing we cannot take out with Runic Revolver, but we can attack first, and then finish it with that. So we'll send them all in. We could keep this one back. If we do this attack, it makes it look like we're just trying to... if we do this attack, it makes it look like we're just trying to get the armor. And that is... If we do that, the opponent probably doesn't block. If we do this, the opponent probably also doesn't block. Yeah, we'll just send them all in. Just because the Runic Revolver is going to be so good if we can... Okay, so the opponent is taking kill on this. Their thoughts there were probably that we were just trying to force through enough damage before they could take over the game. But this works out really well for us because we get to keep our weapon, we get to hit them for 2, and we get to kill this thing before it can spawn a 2/2 flyer. You've got to be kidding. Wahahaha. 5/6 is going to be another tough one. But we'll send our Golems in. The Golems are hard to block. Yep, that's pretty much what we expected there. It's a shame that we're going to just end up losing this weapon. This is going to go up to a 5/6 also, so our armor going on that is not going to do very much good. Oh, oops, we can't play this in it because this is a 4-drop, not a 3-drop. Yeah, our weapon's not going to do us any good here because we could hit this, but it would only take 2 damage, so we're just done. We do just get to finish off 1 creature for our 5 mana. We're hoping to do a little better, but the opponent's going to have a handful of big stuff here. So Runic Revolver is not great in this sort of situation. Hopefully our armor will be enough to push some of our creatures through their blocks, but this game is not looking very good for us. The opponent is pretty low on life, but our hand isn't going to be great at breaking through their blockers, although they just didn't play anything there, which is kind of suspicious. What are we doing? I guess we're going to put armor on this thing and attack with both. It's weird that to me that the opponent did not attack, because I would think they'd want to remove our revolver. This is a nice attack for us because it offers... Okay, so they're going to put something back. That's fine. That unfortunately makes us lose our armor that was on there, but we can use the torch now to finish this thing. And that clears the way for us to get this attack in for 2. And we can play an Obsidian Golem. Right now we've got 1 armor in the discard pile. So we're going to want another Obsidian Golem to die before we can play a Smuggler's Stash. We just got all the Obsidian Golems. We can do this attack really safely too because we still have this weapon somehow. So they're going to take the block. We'll get an armor in hand. Make this attack. And we'll go Golem, Golem, and we'll just armor now. This is looking better than I expected, but I guess the opponent stalled on mana. So we are going to be able to use that to our advantage. It looks like we can just kill now. And there's the stash, although not going to need to play that this game. Alright, so thanks to the opponent not hitting their 5th mana, we did not die to all the giant things that they presumably had there. So we'll be on to game 4.